Hi there, we're in the studio and we're lucky enough to have Topper Headon of The Clash with us. Firstly, thanks to Damon Alban of Blur for letting us use his studio. Topper.
That's right.
Thanks for coming along. It's 18 months since we last met and we had a chat at your place. Since then, you've been busy with the re-release or the release of Clash's new box set. How's that been going?
Yeah, it's been a fantastic 18 months actually, Spike. I've been back involved with Mick and Paul, which has been a wonderful thing because, as you know, my life took a wrong turn years ago.
Yeah.
And we've been working, for the last 2 years, we've been working on the sound system, which is an anthology, everything we've ever recorded in a special box set, and we've been in loads of interviews and promotional work for it, and Mick's remastered it all, and Paul did all the artwork. So it's a complete anthology, complete
Total
section.
anthology of the Clash.
I should have a copy here for you actually, but no, Paul's done an amazing job on the artwork, and it's really good. I'm really proud of it. So
1976. Should we go back to 1976? You had a really good reason to learn how to play reggae.
Yeah, well, I'd never played reggae. When I joined the Clash, I'd had a kind of grounding in jazz and funk and soul music and stuff, but I'd never come across playing reggae before. And the band gave me the first album to learn. And one of the tracks on it was Police and Thieves, and I had to that was my first introduction to reggae. And it was very kind of like a rock and roll version of reggae, really. But as time went on with the band, we did a lot more. We did Armageddon time, and we wrote reggae songs such as like White Man in Hammersmith Valley.
Would you say that learning reggae gave you a different kind of insight into why drums are such a powerful instrument in terms of the soul, if you like?
No. No, it's just a completely alien way of, it's all back to front, but beats on the third and the fourth, or the second and the fourth, whatever. And it was just like a completely whole different way to play the drums,
Would you say it was one of your favourite styles now, reggae?
No.
If you had to choose only one style of drumming, what would that be?
I don't know. I think drummers have to play every different style. I've got no particular favourite style, I just love playing the drums, basically. That's why joining the Clash was a great thing for me, because up until the Clash, I kind of played a lot of jazz and funk and that sort of thing, which I brought to the band. But I didn't actually play with any power. So when I joined the band, I had to kind of relearn my whole style to play really powerfully. And
you really harder and
but totally. I was a bit of a tapper before I joined the Clash, But to compete with the three of them, they looked like three Eddie Cochrans running around. So I had to compete visually. I had to compete on a power level and a volume level. So up until the Clash, dare I say, I was a good drummer, but joining the Clash pushed me up a whole new level. I had to, became a powerful. What I did, I could do powerfully.
So it's not just right place at the right time, is it?
No, it's one of these questions. Sometimes I wake up in the morning and I think I'm the luckiest man alive. I was in the right place at the right time. And then other days I wake up and I think, no, hang on a minute.
You put a lot of hard work into it.
I put a lot of work into it.
You didn't just walk into the Clash.
No,
you needed to do all sorts
hours and hours of practice and taking risks. If I hadn't have been in the right place at the right time, I'd have might be on, bus conductor now or whatever,
Yeah. Have you ever been on stage and suddenly had the panic attack where you just think, shit, how do I do this?
No, I've been very lucky on that one.
You've not had that, because so many people have.
I've had that off stuff without a drum kit. I've walked down the street and gone, oh, blimey, how do I get, I've had panic attacks in that areas of my life. But the reason I loved drumming was that I just loved it, and I was, for the first time, it was the one place in the world where I was really 100% confident in my ability and in just...
So it's the last place you'd have a panic attack in that case?
For me, I've made loads of mistakes in life, but I didn't used to make many mistakes behind the drum kit.
And what was your original inspiration for wanting to be a drummer?
I know it sounds like a cliche, I suppose, but I saw Keith Moon on Top of the Pops, and I saw him playing, and I thought, well, he was good looking, the cameras were on him, he was sitting at the front. I thought, I'm going to have some of that. That's kind of really appealed to me. And so I started to play the drums, and by the time I realised that the drummers sit at the back, first get told what to do.
It's too late.
And keep the beat. It was too late, but by then I was already bitten,
You're told what to do, get out of the way, and
you're
to be
in
quiet.
the way, be quiet too, though. Stop tapping, we all know that one. But also, I used to love Gene Krupa. He was like a Keith Moon of the jazz era. you know, and obviously Buddy Rich as well was. I used to love the Showman drummers, you know.
We spoke last time, and you mentioned how much you loved being on the road. The other guys, I used to get a bit tired of it, but you actually were perfectly happy on the road.
I love being on the road. Yeah, it's what I wanted to do.
You wanted to do.
You know, it was just wonderful. I loved the lifestyle that went with it. I loved touring. I loved seeing the world.
Yeah.
Don't forget, in the 70s and 80s, very few people flew.
Yeah.
You know, the world is a totally different place now. No one went to the States. I was 21 years old, flying to the States to play and tour. I mean, you'd be a bit mad to find a fault with that.
Yeah.
You know, I loved it. I loved being on the road. You know, I loved being in the band.
And you've got to have a lot of stamina for it as well, haven't you? What do you think about this bit of research that suggests that drummers have to have the same amount of stamina as a marathon runner in order to do a gig?
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah.
I mean, I just saw part of this thing working with the box set stuff. We've been looking at old interviews and stuff because they're included in the box set. And Joe actually said about me, when we found Topper Headon, we were lucky to find a drummer with the stamina and the strength.
Especially with punk and the sort of stuff that was being played there.
But luckily that's kind of come naturally to me, strength and stamina, because I've always been mad on sport and, you know, mad on drumming, and find it very hard to keep still even today, you know.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of drummers tend to be kind of very fidgety. I don't want to sit down too much, you know.
Yeah.
And, but that also leads me to this other bit of research that's been done, which suggests that drummers are actually more intelligent than other people. So what do you think about that?
No, well, I mean, that whole thing, why I snigger is because, you know, there's that stereotypical view of a drummer. You know, what do you call a person who hangs out with musicians? A drummer. Do you know? There's all the jokes. I mean, obviously you've got to have incredible coordination and you know, athleticism.
I don't know where this research was done, but there's probably some university somewhere. But they've been trying to sort of come to some sort of conclusion that what goes on cognitively in our brains actually is a sign of greater intelligence. I have my doubts on that, but it's nice to throw that one into the mix.
Well, I think it's interesting, isn't it? I mean, obviously, I mean, if you play the drums, but if you sit down and show someone what you actually do, with the two pedals and the two hands doing everything totally different, people think, "Phew, I didn't realise it was so complicated."
And also that with the amount of strength and stamina you have to have as well.
It's a one-off.
It's verging on the superhuman, isn't it? Perhaps?
Well, I'd like to, you know. You only got to look at me to realise that, haven't you?
Well, yes, and that's why, of course, it's therapeutic, because you're using everything, all your faculties, all at once.
Yeah.
And in a quite a powerful way. So it's got to be letting out something.
And then a lot of drummers actually do contribute musically as well, you know. It's not just keeping the beat. I used to keep the beat on the stage and power it and try and force the music. But in the studio, you know, you contribute as well.
You rock the Casbah, didn't you?
Well, I was very lucky, you see, because when I joined the Clash, I played on the second album, Give 'Em Enough Rope, and I just played the drums, and that was a fantastic experience because it was my first studio album. By the time we came to record London Calling, I was in a band that let me experiment with percussion. Do you know what I mean? So London Calling is covered in just ordinary percussion, and then when we come to Sandinista and Combat Rock at the end, we've got kind of tuned percussion and marimbas and xylophones and
that must have been fun,
timpani.
Putting all that stuff on.
I play on Sandinista. I'm playing like steel drums as well. You know, I had free reign to pick up any instruments I wanted to play.
And of course that led to the inclination to write as well, presumably.
Yeah, so you know, like with the piano, a xylophone is like a piano, basically. So if you can play the drums and you know a few bits on the piano, you can play the xylophone, you can play the marimba. And vibes, you know, they're all different names, but it's all the same instrument.
And you had access to all these instruments because you were the Clash, you had the studio. And you
look at the studio around us now, do you know what I mean? Everywhere, all percussion everywhere. You just come in and pick it all up and mess around. And that was another thing, those 5 years in the band, when you're surrounded by instruments all day long, you know, I'd get to a sound check and Paul would not be playing the bass, so I'd pick up the bass and have a go, and Mick would get behind the drums, and then you go into the studio like this, there's instruments everywhere. You know, you'd have to be pretty dumb not to want to try out and play them,
and it also takes away from the inevitable boredom of hanging around when you're not actually playing the drums. You've got something else to do.
Till we came to record London Calling, I didn't know I could play percussion. I knew I played the drums, but I would every week we'd order from Morris Plaquet, the hire company, a big set of percussion, and go, oh wow, how'd you play that? Oh, how'd you play that? You know, it's kind of.
And you can spend
back
hours
to being that thing where drummers are quite intelligent.
Yes, exactly. Yeah,
inquisitive,
versatile, creative. What would you say if you had to think of one? Would be your favourite moment of all, or as a musician?
Very difficult. Every album was different for different reasons. You know, the first album that I recorded, sorry, not the Clash. The first album I recorded, Give 'Em Enough Rope, was a high point because it was the first time I'd been in a studio, a top studio with a top producer, Sandy Perlman. That was a real high. London Calling was a real high because by then I was playing the percussion and we had Guy Stevens along and Bill Price. Sandinista was kind of like what I like to call our sort of freeform jazz album because we made it up as we went along. Nothing was written, so that was a high, and that was recorded in New York. So that, you know, every single, and then the last album, Combat Rock, everything was every album was totally different. You know, in this box set, in the anthology, you've got all the albums together, and they're like 5 different bands worth. You know, apart from Joe's voice, and you know, they're all totally different.
Live-wise, have you had a great moment? One you remember? One particular gig that you remember was?
Yeah,
great?
I do remember one, right? And it's just an ordinary gig in Europe, and there was a power cut, and all the instruments went dead, and I just had to hold down the beat for about 5 minutes while they fixed it. Yeah. And obviously the Clash went into drum solo, so it wasn't a drum solo. I just kept the beat boom, bap, boom, boom, bap, boom, for 5 minutes, and the audience were rocking, and it was great. I loved it, and the 3 of them came on, turned their back to the audience, and all 3 of them gave me a round of applause.
That's nice.
Yeah, that's. Did
you keep that in the set after that?
No, unfortunately, no. I used to try and throw the fuses away and stuff, but no. But there's lots of similar memories like that. There was a gig in Italy where I happened to be hours late, and they went on with a different drummer, and I had to run through the security and the police who chased me on the stage. I'm saying, no, I'm Topper. And they're going, no, the drummer's here. I'm going, le batteur, je suis le batteur. Even though we were in Italy, I'm speaking French, right? And they wouldn't let me on, so my security man said, right, I'll hit this copper and you run. So he wrestled with this policeman. I ran on the stage being chased by security. And Joe rescued me just as I was about to get grabbed by the cops, and who didn't believe I was the drummer because they had this other drummer.
Really?
George Butler, his name was. He used to play with Whirlwind.
Really?
And that's another great. There's loads of memories like that. The Rainbow Theatre, you know, like the audience trashing the place. They did the first 5 rows of ripped the seats out.
Really?
Then there's Newcastle, when there was a dart in the board behind me. When we came back on stage, we were back in the dressing room having, you know, getting showered afterwards. And my drum roadie Baker came up to me and said, "Ooh," he was white as a sheet. He said, "Come and look what's happened." And there were 2 darts. It just missed my head by inches, you know, stuck in the backdrop.
Which had gone past you as you were playing.
And I know that's not a great memory, but it's a very powerful, memory.
One,
you know,
Wasn't Johnny Green quite enthusiastic in terms of winding up the audience for you guys?
Yeah, Johnny was, you know, it wasn't just the 4 of us in the band. There was a lot of people around the band, like Baker, who was my drum roadie, who was the best drum roadie you could possibly have. Johnny Green was the tour manager, my mate Rob. There was, you know, everyone. There were a lot of people around the band that were vitally important. Penny Smith, Ray Lowry, you know, who was the artist who did all sketches and did the London Calling sleeve, and there were loads of people who were involved with that band. Black Ray as security man, and could go on forever, you know.
Well, drum techs in particular, we often ask about them.
Well,
he was good, was he?
Mine, Baker, Barry August, aka Baker, was incredibly important for me. Because we came up with all these ideas. Don't forget we're talking about the 70s here. And I realised that if I played open on the ride cymbal, I could really whack the snare drum. As soon as I crossed to the hi-hat, I lost the power on the snare because my right hand was coming over. So Baker and myself, we got a hi-hat stand, put a brick on the foot plate, gaffer taped it up, closed it over, and just fitted it over the right-hand side of the tom-toms. This was years before, you know, you had double hi-hats. Then we used to go through so many bass drum pedals because I loved using wooden beaters. Right. And so we used to get these pieces of moleskin, which were made by Dr. Scholes, you know, and stick those to the bass drum before bass drum pads. Yeah. You know,
because people forget, don't they?
We took the internal dampers out, and you know, it was in the days of really inventing drumming stuff. And a lot of what we worked on now have become staple parts of a drum kit. But that's how important Baker was for me. And also he used to tune the drums as well. I would get to a gig and I would know the drum kit was set up perfectly, tuned perfectly. You know, he was vital, really.
I mean, I suppose in those days, lots more did go wrong because they hadn't invented these really clever chunky stands and all that sort of thing. I mean, they were really stick thin, weren't they? And
yeah, you can see a drum kit back in the 70s and 80s. They're just so flimsy.
Yeah.
You know, in comparison to today's drum kits. You know, so we had to be more.
More inventive and preventive as well. Yeah. If
that was good, inventive and preventive, very good.
Inventive and preventive.
So intelligent drummers.
If I was to ask you, give you, say, 5 top drummers that you admire.
Right, well, there'd be the usual one like Buddy Rich, because I don't think anyone's ever going to have a technique, jazz technique. I mean, I still watch him today, he's just phenomenal. Yeah. I don't think anyone will ever be as good as him. Steve Gadd for his technique and his inventiveness. I love Steve Gadd. One that you won't have probably heard of so much is a guy called Terry Williams, who was the drummer with the Man Band, and then Dire Straits.
Dire Straits after that, wasn't it? Yeah.
He was phenomenal. He was, when I was learning the drums, he was the guy that one of the first drummers that I really tried to copy, and I could never do it. His right hand and his left hand used to play 16ths all the way through stuff live with accents. He
shuffling with both hands and that sort of thing.
But I mean, you ask me tomorrow, and there'll be a load of other guys that I remember. You know, Steve, obviously Billy Cobham, Harvey Mason, Steve Gadd. Just then a lot of the Elvin Jones, Art Blakely. You know, Philly Joe Jones. There's just so many drummers. But
how about Ringo?
Oh yeah, of course. But I mean, Ringo and they're different drummers. I mean, Ringo. Is that, were you in the right place at the right time? Well, maybe Ringo was, maybe I was, maybe Charlie Watts was. But the Stones without Charlie, the Beatles without Ringo, and apparently the Clash without me. Yeah. You know, that's the same thing. Ringo's backbeat was fantastic. You know? Yeah. Charlie Watts, was recently watching him play at Glastonbury, and you know, he plays with he lifts the snare, the hi-hat up to play the snare, and he just plays on that beat. He's phenomenal.
Yes, he doesn't hit the snare at the same time as he hits the hi-hat or the ride.
See, I used to go, right? He goes, he brings his right hand out the way, so you never have the snare drum at the same time as the hi-hat, which makes the snare drum come forward more. You know? Yeah,
and it also sits slightly behind the beat as well, so that it gives the Stones their kind of unique way of playing rock and roll. It's always that kind of. Well, they're always catching up. You know,
as you know, with the Clash, Terry Chimes was the first drummer. He was a great, solid rock drummer, and then he came in after I was evicted from the drum seat. But you know, it was like a different band with the two different drummers. You know, and that's why when people think of the Clash, it was of the lineup that I was in, which was where we did most of the recorded stuff. You know.
Yeah. With that departure from the Clash. That must have been quite a painful.
Well, I mean, obviously, to be thrown out of any band is pretty horrendous. But that, once again, that is why this past year has been great. Past 18 months.
Yeah, the box set features the Clash with Topper.
Yeah, so exactly. The classic lineup of the band. Yeah. But it's been great hanging out with Mick and Paul again, swapping stories. And do you remember this? Apologising to each other for various bits and pieces we did back when we were young. Yeah. Now we're in our 50s, and we think, God, we were lucky to be together. We were lucky to have met each other.
Are you going to still hang out with them?
Hope, you know. I mean, it's been absolutely brilliant, you know.
And will you do anything else? Like, obviously, you've done the box set.
This is coming to the end of it now. Yeah. But although it's been great, you know, it's nice to go back to my normal life again now.
You read the first one.
Yeah, I feature in the first one.
You feature very heavily in the first one, as you do on these videos as well.
Yeah, good.
Would you like to be part of the next one?
Yes, I'd love to, yeah. I'd love to do another Mad, Bad and Dangerous book. It might be brilliant.
It's nice to see you again, Topper. Thanks so much for coming to the studio today. And
take care, Spike.
Good to see you again. I'll tell you what do you think of these hot rods?
I hate them. I hate them.
Really
I hate everybody as well, and also my biggest fear is Adolf Hitler. It's like amazing. It's just like,
oh, hi. Hope you enjoyed that interview with Topper. Look out for our interview with John Moss here coming up soon. In the meantime, please always remember to like, subscribe, and share with all your friends. Anyway, as we were saying,
what the blazes is going on here?
Sorry,
how do you know this is one of the country's most popular venues? Don't you know the Ulysses frequently play here? Go on, get off my stage. Take your gubbins with you. Go on.
It's him again. It's like Mr. Buchanan.
Get up. And get your hair cut.
Perhaps we could discuss it.
Get out of here. Don't come back again.
I am never, ever coming here again, all right?
on.
Oh, sorry, forgot to mention, we've just uploaded a bonus feature with Topper where he answers fans' questions. Also, if you haven't seen our original interview with Topper, check that out as well. John, should we go for that drink? Probably not here.
Hi there. We're at Damon Albarn's studio sorry, wait a minute, Damon Albarn.
Yeah.
Hi there. Damon Albarn.
That's an outtake. Damon Albarn.
Albarn.
Yeah.
Damon Albarn.
Sorry.
That's all right. Hi there. We're at Damon Albarn's.
Right, let's be serious now.
Hi there. We're at Damon Albarn's studio. Damon Albarn of Blur. He's kindly let us use his studio. Hi there. Damon Albarn of. Hi there. Hi there. Damon Albarn of Blur.
Is Damon Albarn here?
Where is he?
Hi there, we're in.
Where is he?
We're in, Spike.
Yeah.
Establish it with a we're in. Don't just go, hi there, Damon Albarn.
Because otherwise we'll never do it. Hello. I knew that would do it.
Sorry. Fucking I would be all day. Right.
We're in Damon Albarn's studio. Damon Albarn of Blur. We're in Damon Albarn's studio.
Just go, hi there, we're in Damon Albarn's right, studio. Let's take this way back, Spike.
Yeah. Why can't I say the bloke's surname? Why can't I say it? Damon Albarn. Yeah. And we are in Damon Albarn.
Albarn.
St Albans, where I live near. I think that's how I'll remember it. Yeah. Damon Albarn. There we are.
There you go. Yeah, drummers are intelligent, aren't they?
Yeah.
Hi there.
Oh, that's right.
Hi there. Let's use his studio. Damon Albarn of Blur for letting him. Hey?
Spike, don't worry
He's done
about
it again. He's done it.
Just chill. You're over-explaining it. Just let it be, man. Let it be. Just.
Yeah.
Hi there. Welcome back. We're in the studio.
Hi there,
We're very
Mike.
privileged to have with us Topper.
Yeah.
Sitting
Hi
in the
there.
studio together.
My name's Damon Albarn.
I'm Damon Albarn of Blur. Firstly, thanks to Damon Albarn of Blur for letting us be here. Albarn of the Allman Brothers.
Great Albarn.
All right. Firstly, thanks to Damon Albarn of Blur for letting us use his studio. Topper.
Yes!
Good,
Got it.
yes, nice one.
Oh my God. There we go.
You have to tell Damon that I can't say his surname for some
Yeah.
reason.